And all the students were extremely motivated and practiced at school and at home. Students represented the district well and received either an excellent or superior rating at Poetry and Prose on Stage in Visalia. Superior is the highest rating awarded to participants at this event. Hester School encourages family participation in academics as well as in special events. Therefore, we had a poetry assembly at Hester in which all participants recited their poems to their fellow peers, their classmates, parents, family, friends, and staff. These festivals are a great way for students to develop self-esteem, confidence, and a love for oral interpretation. We have 5 selections today for you. And we're going to start with My Dog Likes to Disco. These students, we have 2 students from Mrs. Tripp's kindergarten class, and 1 student is a first grader. Oh, I'm going to say their names. Okay. And 1 student from Mrs. Valdez's dual language immersion classroom. And we're going to start with Ariani Gomez, Mateo Escareno, and Emma Trujillo. Okay, we're going to start over. And this is what the judges say at the festivals. When they kind of trip up, they just tell them, take a deep breath, and you're going to start over, and you'll start with the title and the author first. So, Emma, you may start counting. This group got a superior rating for their performance. Yay! And now we have Meatloaf. These students come from 2 classrooms again. Mr. Lopez's first grade students and Mrs. Valdez's dual language immersion student. So we're going to start with Jeremias Hernandez. Adan Hernandez. Ismael Santillan. Julie Mendez. And Damian Hernandez.
The meal was on fire and the kitchen filled with smoke.
This group received a superior rating as well. My dog has got no manners. My dog has got no manners is recited by Mrs. Saldivar's dual language immersion kindergarten students. They are bilingual. They know poems in Spanish and in English, but they chose to perform this one in English. So we have Damian Espinosa, Héctor Mayo, Marilyn Velasco, Davina Iniguez, and Miguel Ochoa. This performance also received a superior rating. Los Pollitos, Wide Awake Chicks. Los Pollitos, Wide Awake Chicks is performed by another group of bilingual students. And they are from Mrs. Valdez's classroom and Mrs. Reynoso's first grade classrooms. So we have Mateo Montalvo, Wiley Eber, Fernando Alvarez. And I just want to ask, is Ebony Almanza here? Or Acela Santillan? Okay. All right, so you will say it by yourselves, okay? And you guys are great. So you may start counting. Oh, yes, your name.
Mi nombre es Mateo Montalvo, I'm primer grado. Mi nombre es María, yo soy primer grado. Mi nombre es Fernanda Álvarez, yo soy primer grado. Los pollitos dicen, wide awake chicks, by author and no. Los pollitos dicen, pío, 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 cuando tienen hambre, cuando tienen frío. Wide awake chicks say, peep, 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 we're hungry, we're cold, we won't go to sleep. La gallina busca el maíz y el trigo, les da la comida y les presta abrigo. Mother hen scratches for barley and seeds, and gives them the warmth the little chick needs. Bajo sus dos alas, acurrucaditos, hasta el otro día duermen los pollitos. Under her wings, cozy and warm, wide awake chicks sleep until dawn.
Woo! And Riley, just a second. I want to tell the audience and school board members that when they wanted to participate in poetry, Fernando was in an English-only group. And he asked me if he could please have a Spanish poem. So we picked this poem because it's bilingual and he has his classmates to help him out. Well, just the other day he said, I learned this in English, can I say it? And I said, of course you can, and he did such a great job. And they all helped him learn the English words because they've been practicing since January. So let's give them another round of applause. That's a lot of hard work. Now we have cooking class. Is she here? Okay, cooking class is performed by Mrs. Corona students and Mrs. Lunas. They are first grade students. And we're going to start with Samantha Rivas, Elena Gamboa, Giselle Gonzalez, and Jayla Viveros.
Cooking class by Ken Nesbitt. I signed up for a cooking class. I thought it would be fun. But everything I made came out completely overdone. I burned up all the noodles. I set fire to a steak. I blackened 20 tacos, 7 pizzas, and a cake. I turned some eggs to ashes and I torched a piece of toast. And you don't even want to know what happened to the roast. I don't know why, but everything I made came up in smoke. I even scored some sushi, several salads, and a Coke. My lessons didn't teach me much, there's just one thing I'm learning. I'm terrible at cooking, but I'm excellent at burning.
Woo! These students also received a superior rating, and also the pollitos, they got a superior rating at this festival. They were all great. Let's have the parents please stand up because the students could not have performed this well without your help and support. Los padres, por favor, párense de los niños que presentaron hoy. Un aplauso grande. Let's give them a big round of applause. Gracias. Now, the classroom teachers, if you're here, please stand or wave so we know where you're at. You also played a big part in teaching students their poems and providing them this opportunity that will help them be successful in public speaking. Because believe me, public speaking is hard. It's so hard to get up here. So it's a good start. And thank you, board members, and of course all administrators, because without your support, these students could not go to these poetry festivals and start practicing while they're young so that they can become confident and good at public speaking, not like me. But thank you so much.
First of all, before we move on, we like to thank you. We are so proud of you. On behalf of my board members and myself and the entire district, we are so proud of you for representing Farmersville, representing your school, and just seeing the excellence that you received for doing your poetry is fantastic. And for you to come up here and perform like that, thumbs up again. Thank you so very much.
Just real quick, I wanted to say they did as well today as they did at Hester, which was all their classmates in front of them. They performed amazing. I was able to go and see that. But one thing that wasn't mentioned, and it was mentioned at the Poetry and Prose performance at Hester, is this is Miss Ramos' last year. So if we can give her him. Thank you.
All right. I too want to voice on behalf of all of the administration and the teachers and the staff the wonderful job that the children did. It takes a lot of courage to come up here and recite a poem. We all know that people get nervous and then they skip lines. None of that happened today. So I think that's amazing, and that beginning of the development of oral language is critical because it will impact the writing, because we write the way we speak. And so the more we develop our speaking skills, the better will be the writing. And so that's our goal eventually, to get all of these babies ready to go on to college and beyond and come back and serve their community. So please give them another round of applause. As we go on, feel free to stay the entire meeting. But if you feel the need to step out because the children might get restless or they're hungry, by all means, okay? So don't worry, make yourself at home. And with that, we continue with the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We're gonna go ahead and take just a short break. As the ones that wanna stay, you're welcome to stay. Those that need to leave, we'll wait for a moment before you can exit. Thank you.
You have to wrap your legs around though.
Bye, Mommy. See you later.
Are you excited? For bed? Do you have, do we have any student, like seniors?
Might
have
be
any
the-
seniors?
Might be some of those, I don't know.
I don't know.
You wanna move them up front?
Are there any seniors? Any high school students? Can the high school students please take over and sit in the front row, please? Yes, you're not in trouble. You come on up to the front row.
But you have to read your poems to us too.
This is the second to the front, but
Yes, they do.
all right. Well, we got 80% proficiency. We're good. Thank you. Why do you think that we ask you to sit in the front? Because at the end of the day, everything that we do for you. And so you're the most important, precious gift that we have here in our district is our students. So thank you. All right, go for it.
We'll go ahead and resume the meeting. We'll move over to 6.2, Student Board Member Report.
Good afternoon. This week, our junior class entered the last week of state testing, but coming up is an AP testing in May. Last week, FFA had a planned sale. For those who didn't make it, there will be another one on April 26th. Moving on to sports, yesterday our boys golf traveled to Valley Oaks Golf Course for a match. Tomorrow, Wednesday, our softball and baseball have a home game against Wonderful College. On Thursday, our boys golf team traveled to Valley Oaks Golf Course for the ELS Championship. Friday, our baseball and softball teams have a home game against Summit Charter. Our swim to travel to Strathmore also for the ELS Championship. Our track team will travel to Carter's High School for a meet. Saturday, our baseball team travels to Exeter for a game. Coming up is FHS Open House on April 30th and on prom on May 18 at Merriam Station. That's all I have for you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for that report. At this time, we go ahead and go to 7.0, people to be heard. 7.1 and 7.2, I'm just gonna put that together if that's okay with you, Sergio. So at this time, 7.1, approval of facility use agreement for Farmers of the Youth Football and cheer for the use of the high school practice field for practice. Also, 7.2, approve a facility use agreement for Farmersville Youth Football and cheer for use of the high school stadium for the games on Saturday. Mr. Valencia.
Good evening, I'm Sergio Valencia. I'm the president of Farmersville Aztecs Youth Football and Cheer. I'm also the campus aide at Farmersville Junior High School, and I'm one of the assistant coaches currently at the high school for football. We're here tonight requesting for facilities for our practice and games for our upcoming season, 2004 season. And if possible, we're asking for the facilities to be waived as we have done in the past.
I'll make a motion for discussion.
Second for discussion.
We have a motion for discussion by Ms. Lopez, second by Mr. Alvarez for discussion. Go ahead, Ms. Lopez.
The children that you have on your team, are they all from Farmersville?
About 95% of them are from Farmersville.
The reason why I ask is, you know, that if they're practicing next to our high school and they're not from our community and they're going to be playing against us, that might be, you know,
Conflict of interest.
a conflict of some sort. That's the reason I ask. And we want to make sure that what we're doing is benefiting our students. So that was pretty much my questions.
Yeah, so the way it works, we're supposed to have 25 kids on paper. We're supposed to have 16 kids suited up on a game day in order to play. So with our community being so small, there's times where we barely filled the maximum kids to get on the field. And we just go find kids and just get them under physical and put them on paper. So half the time, our teams are like 20 kids just getting on to play football. So we have to fill some of these kids that are the kids that get cut from other schools because they don't make the teams on those ends.
That was kind of my question, how many kids you had. I know you guys you have a really good program, and you're usually minimum size, but you take them on. So, you know, I'm all for the program. There's always a few kids come from out of the city limits. You know, that's in all of our sports, city sports. So I appreciate what you're doing, for sure.
Ms. Gomez, do you have any questions?
No questions, but I do want to say that I know, I have family members from outside of Farmersville that have played for your program, and they recommended over the other programs in Visalia and Exeter. And whenever they're trying to consider where to put their kid, like the next generation of kids, they always consider Farmersville. They like the program that you have, so keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Macarino?
I just want to say basically that I think giving the opportunity to our students is good, whether the students are from outside or here. The important thing is that we do reach the students here so that they have the opportunity. I know maybe that probably wouldn't be as much if they went somewhere else. Maybe they might be benched, maybe they might not be picked. So I think that'd be an even balance.
Make me look at the back.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
No.
No, you know my concerns is that, you know, we don't want someone from another school playing against our kids and knowing the game plays.
Yeah,
That's
teaching
what-
them the high school plays so they can.
That's my
But
only concern.
I do want to say that Trustee Lopez, I think, has a very good point, that if we could reach as many Farmville students as possible, I think that's what we want to do. However, you know, giving that little space to others to build the program, I think is also good.
Yeah,
But
well,
I definitely understand.
so this year we've actually done to where, well, we've done it in the past because we always struggle about every 3 years. We struggle with the senior team, which is the 14U. So we had to go back and like this year, everyone that's an incoming 8th grader, their registration's free. All they got to do is come to us, sign up, and they're ready to go.
That's the age group that you struggle with?
Yes.
The 8th graders?
Do you do a heavy recruitment in regards to the program to get kids from the junior high school or whatnot? to
Like I
participate?
said, so I'm there on the campus. I mean, we try, but like I said, some of the kids, it's usually that's where we disconnect with kids. is that 8th grade group. It's always been like that since we've done the program.
I see.
Have we considered like a flag football team for the younger and maybe putting them in other leagues, but having a Farmersville team, maybe we can recruit them, get them interested in football?
So, as of right now, the only town that does that and they kind of control everything is Tulare. So we have tried to do that, but they wanted us to get our uniforms and still pay whatever their cost was to join the league, which was out of reach for our kids because then they had to come right back like a month or two later and sign up for tackle.
Okay.
Okay, and so what is the cost for a student to participate or a player to play?
It's $100 for us, and then we give them all the gear, and obviously outside of that they don't buy anything. Everything is given to them. Obviously, the equipment they use, they give it at the end of the year, but they get team socks, they get shirts, they get mouthpieces, and then other stuff that we fundraise for it.
And the biggest expense also is your helmet recertification, I'm sure, right?
Yes, a helmet alone right now is about $300 for the youth. There's nothing under that
Per kid.
per kid.
Okay. I'll go ahead and make the motion to waive fees.
I had a question first before you go there.
You had a question?
Oh,
Well, yeah.
there is a president, okay.
Okay. If you must, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Valencia, how long has this program been in existence here in Farmersville?
So this program is the same program that was here in '97 when we had the hand-me-downs from Corcoran Stillers when we were yellow and black. Some of us had yellow helmets, some of us had black helmets.
I remember that.
But it's been the same program. Like I said, the name has changed, but it's been the same one.
And the only reason I ask is this, I know it's been here for a long time, and it's been very successful. And it's hard, I ain't gonna tell you that it's not. But as you mentioned, we do have a large percentage of the kids that participate are from Farmersville. So that being said, I support you guys, I've been supporting you guys since you guys first started. So that just being said, I just wanted to make sure that people knew that this program has been in existence for many and many of years. So that being said, Ms. Lopez has a motion on the floor to waive the fees. Do I have a second?
I do have a question on the custodial fees, though.
You already had him, okay, go ahead.
Well, you made me think, see? See what happened?
Shouldn't have said that, no, never mind, go ahead.
So, yeah, there is a concern that it's over $1,000 in custodial fees. Is there any way that you would be at least able to pay half?
Yes.
Do they put down custodial?
That would be on the second part
Oh,
of
the other part, yeah.
seven.
So you motion for that, I'll second.
Okay, I would make a motion to waive the facility fee and then half of the custodial fee.
Yeah,
So you go to 7.1, you go with a motion to waive the facility fees,
yeah,
Yes.
and that's 7.1, and Mr. Alvarez, you're gonna go ahead and second that?
yeah.
That being said, board members, you understand what
Yes, sir.
Member Lopez and Member Alvarez is doing? That being said, you have any more questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, that carries 5-0. Now we go to 7.2 on the approval of facility use agreement for Farmersville Youth and Cheer to use the high school stadium for the game. Do I have a motion?
That was the motion to waive facilities and half
50%,
of custodial.
the same,
And Mr. Alvarez, you second that?
yes.
We have a motion on the floor by Ms. Lopez, second by Mr. Alvarez, that the league pays half of the fees for the custodian and the district picks up the facility fee, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, that being said, board members have any questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, it carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And on 7.2, the league is paying half on the custodian fee only, yes.
They
Okay,
didn't ask
you
for
got
it on
that?
7-1, right?
There was no
Yeah.
fee on the first one, yeah.
Okay, you got that? Thank you. I'm sure Ms. Gomez will probably have more questions. We'll move on to 8.0, public comment. Members of the public may address the board on any agenda item or other item of interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board before and during the governing board consideration of the item. The board is not able to discuss or take action on any item not appearing on the agenda. Pursuant to board policy, the board may limit individual comments to no more than 3 minutes and individual topics to 20 minutes. Please begin your comments by stating your name.
The board asks that during public comment, everyone be respectful of the speakers. Members of the public shall not interrupt or interject while another person is giving their public comment at the podium. During public comment, there shall be no use of foul language. Should a member of the public have a concern about specific employees, we ask that you direct those concerns to me, the superintendent, after this meeting so that those concerns can be handled through the proper procedures. Please do not use employee or student names during public comment. At this time, Board President, we have Richard Davis.
Hi, I'm Richard Davis, FTA President, Athletic Director at the high school. Also, just based on the last one, Sergio and youth football do a fantastic job. They always work around our football team. And as you said, 95% of their kids are Farmersville and go to the high school, which is huge because we have lost students to other schools in the past. So they do a really good job keeping those students here for sports and education. I just wanted to say quickly thank you to our community, parents, members, and CSCA for their support. We're excited to have a tentative agreement signed with the district. We hope when that's presented to the board, they're accepting of the proposal so that we can move forward as a district. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Maritza Chavez.
I am going to be reading a book called Because I Had a Teacher, written by Kobe Yamada. Because I had a teacher, I loved to learn. I discovered that I could do much more than I thought I could. I realized it's okay when some things are harder than others. I found that challenges can be fun. Because I had a teacher, I discovered that there are lots of ways of being smart. And I know that mistakes are just part of getting something right. I realized that some of the hardest things for me to do make me feel the proudest. Because I had a teacher, I know how good it feels when someone is happy to see me. I know that I can always ask for help. I feel like I have a friend on my side. I see that some of the most important things are said without words. Because I had a teacher, I have whole new worlds to explore. I discovered that what I can imagine, I can make real. And now I feel like I can do anything. Because I had you, I learned to believe in me. Thank you.
Very nice. Lisa Preheim.
Good evening. Just quickly, I'm Lisa Preheim, I'm from the high school. When I was looking through the board packet tonight, I was grateful to see a report on the STRS audit. Then I scrolled and saw the information you were provided. Mr. CBO provided you with a multiple page list of the schools that were audited by STRS, apparently to make the point that lots of schools were audited by STRS. I would expect so. They're auditors and they audit schools all day, every day. The first night I brought this to your attention, I scrolled through the same list, found Farmersville, clicked on the link, and printed the report that was meaningful to us, the report about Farmersville schools. And I duplicated it and presented it to each of you. We don't need to know that lots of schools were audited. We need to know what's meaningful to us. We need to know who else was affected, how employees were affected, and how the issue will be resolved. It's been nearly a year that he's been aware of the issue. We've brought the issue before you twice, And Ms. Gomez has twice asked for a report in response to our concerns. I hope we hear something meaningful for tonight's presentation, but if we don't, would you please ask again? Thank you.
Nancy Gutierrez.
My name is Nancy Gutierrez. I am the school counselor at Snowden Elementary. This is my first year in the district, and I want to share a little bit about myself. I'm the oldest of 4 kids, and both of my parents were farm workers. I grew up in the areas of Teviston, Pixley, Earlymart, and Terabella. The only reason that I went to college was because my high school counselor caught me in time. He believed in me, and then I started to believe in myself. That is why I chose to become a counselor. And that is why I want to stay in Farmersville to help our students. I write to you with a heavy heart and hope that you cancel the decision to release me as Snowden's elementary school counselor. Sorry. They let me go, parents. When I committed to working for Farmersville, it was a long-term commitment. I wasn't planning to go anywhere. I was completely blindsided by this decision. Throughout the school year, I have been hearing that counselors would not be cut. I have been hearing from many school staff that I'm doing an awesome job and that my work is phenomenal. I know I have made a difference at Snowden Elementary. And I want to continue to do so. Sorry, I'm shaking. It's hard to read with tears. I hope that you are able to find a way to have me stay in Farmersville. I want to stay because of our students. Early this year, I quickly learned that Snowden has many students with high needs, especially academic needs. I am shocked by how many students are performing and reading 2 to 3 years below grade level. We have students in the 2nd and 3rd grade who are reading at the preschool level and kindergarten level. They're learning to recognize their letters, the alphabet, their letter sounds, their numbers 1 to 100, and their kindergarten sight words. Our students are struggling tremendously with reading. Yet in a little over 2 months, or less than 2 months, our 3rd graders will be moving to 4th grade. Will they catch up? Will they graduate from high school? Will they succeed in life? Our students are falling through the cracks by the dozens. I have an overwhelming sense of urgency to want to help as many students in Farmersville. At Snowden, we have a short amount of time to make a difference. 2 years. 2 years that students attend Snowden. These are the crucial time. This is a crucial time for their success. We cannot waste any time because we have no time. The opportunity to work as Snowden's elementary counselor was God sent to me. I was placed at a school where my skills and my experience match student needs, and where my strengths can have a tremendous impact in student outcomes. There is so much work to do in our district, and I want to be part of it. With the 10 years of experience at the elementary level and 6 years in middle school, I can handle it all. Our students need a highly qualified and highly experienced counselor to meet their needs. That's me. I have the work ethic y el corazón to serve our students for years to come. Our students need consistency in the services that they're being provided. I have established many positive working relationships and have worked closely with every single teacher and staff member on campus to meet our students' needs. I have strengthened the SST process, the #1 concern that teachers had and wanted me to improve on campus. This year, 41 TAT meetings have been held by teachers for students who are academically behind. I have scheduled 28 pre-SST meetings with teachers in our school team and 18 SST meetings with parents. Our parents must be part of the conversation. Sounds like a lot of meetings. Well, there's a lot more to schedule, and I don't have time. I have improved collaboration, communication, and increased alignment with our reading intervention and math intervention services and our SST process. I am making a huge impact in this area. I have helped to address parent concerns through the SST process. But let me share what some teachers have to say about my work at Snowden. Here's one. I have been a teacher here at Farmersville School District for 32 years. In my entire career, I have seen very few people dedicate so much time and effort to our students, parents, and staff. Ms. Gutierrez has been a blessing to our campus. She has some of the best communication skills that I have seen in a long time. She makes sure that students, parents, and staff know what's going on, what is expected, and what is needed to happen to better help our students with mental well-being. Here's another from another teacher. Her tireless efforts have undoubtedly made a positive difference in the lives of countless students, and her absence will be sorely felt within our school community. She is extremely knowledgeable in her field, and her desire to make sure that there is proper data and paperwork to back up the future success of every student is amazing. Ms. G has been a huge asset to our school and our district. All of the work that she has put in this year for Farmersville students is immeasurable. Above all, Ms. G demonstrates genuine care for both students and staff. Since day one, she has demonstrated respect, compassion, empathy, dedication, assertiveness, and above all, kindness. It's hard to envision a new school counselor when we already have an outstanding one that has poured her blood, sweat, and tears into the work she has done here at Snowden. We're getting to the ugly part, guys. Change is needed to better serve our students, and I am part of that change. Our teachers are open to change. However, our admin does not seem to be. And I'm talking about my school admin. I have encountered resistance from admin when implementing district protocols, procedures, and systems. I have met with resistance when advocating for students. I have been disrespected, belittled, and embarrassed in front of colleagues by both admin. I have been yelled at, and recently I have had to cut a meeting short because an admin's voice was being raised at me. We deserve to work in a place where we are respected, where we feel safe, where our hard work is appreciated and acknowledged, and where admin maintains self-control and professionalism even when the work gets tough. Our admin has been the greatest challenge on campus for me when meeting student needs. I have encountered resistance time and time again. Is this the type of leadership that will move our schools forward? Will this type of leadership support our students' success? Some people don't like change. Without change, we cannot support our students at the level that we need to. Look at all the work that I have done this year. Talk to the students, talk to the parents, and see if they would agree with that decision for me to not return. I hope and pray that you find a way to let me stay, to continue to serve our students. If you decide to not keep me in Farmersville, that decision will have a negative impact on hundreds of students and thousands in the long run. Please make the best choice for our students. Thank you.
That's it for public comment.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. At this time, we go to 8.1, superintendent comments.
I wanted to start off by saying a few announcements. Hester is having a Cinco de Mayo celebration lunch on the lawn on on May 3rd at 11:30. So if you have children at Hester, feel free to come out and share the time with the staff and the children. Next, also at Hester, Mamás y Pastelitos. So they're gonna give pastelitos only to the mamás. No, everybody, okay. On Monday, May the 6th, from 7:30 to 8:30 in the morning, also at Hester. So those are two activities that are coming up really quick at Hester Elementary School. I wanna thank our students who are here today. I wanna say that I too am happy to hear that we have reached a tentative agreement, and that way we can refocus and rejoin our forces again to do the godly work of making sure that our children get the best education possible, and while making sure that all of our staff and parents and students are taken care of. So with that said, I wanna wish you all a very good night. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. We'll go ahead and move on to 10.0, K-8 issues. We go to 10.1, approval of open house donation to Snowden Elementary Association student body.
Move.
We have a motion on the floor.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Ms. Lopez, second by Mr. Macarino. Is that correct?
Yes.
That being said, board members, do you have any questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, that carries 5-0. 10.2, approval of fourth grade field trip for Ford Family Farms on May 28th and May 29th in Lindsay, California.
Motion?
We have a motion by Mr. Alvarez.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Alvarez, is that correct?
Yeah.
Second by Ms. Lopez. That correct? That being said, board members have any questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, that carries 5-0. 10.13, correction, 10.3, approval of dispose of obsolete textbooks at Farmersville Junior High.
Move.
We have a motion on the floor,
Second.
and we have a motion on the floor and a second. Motion by Ms. Lopez, second by Ms. Gomez, is that correct?
Yes.
That being said, board members have any questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, carries 5-0. Move on to 12.0, curriculum. 12.1, approval of document tracking service agreement 2024-2025.
Move.
We have a motion on the floor.
Second?
We have a motion on the floor by Ms. Lopez, second by Mr. Alvarez. Is that correct?
Yes.
That being said, board members have any questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, carries 5-0. 12.2, approval of program improvement identification for 2024-2025 special education significant disappropriation. Yes, that too. We have a motion on the floor?
Move.
We have a motion on the floor?
Second.
Who seconded that?
I did.
We have a motion on the floor by Ms. Lopez, second by Mr. Macarino, that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
That being said, board members have any questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, carries 5-0. 13.0, personnel. 13.1, approval of classified personnel 13.1.1.1.
Move.
We have a motion on the floor.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Ms. Lopez, second by Ms. Gomez, is that correct?
Yes.
That being said, board members have any questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, that carries 5-0. 13.2, personnel action report, information only. Board members have any question? If not, we move on to 13.3, approval of school counseling agreement between Grand Canyon University and Farmersville Unified.
Move.
We have a motion on the floor
Second?
and a second on the floor as well. We have a motion by Ms. Lopez, second by Mr. Alvarez, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me. That being said, board members have any questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, carries 5-0. 13.4 was deleted. We go to 14.0, board business. 14.1, consideration of any item any members of the board wishes to have on a future agenda or provide a written update. Mr. Alvarez.
You know what, we used to have, and I don't know if we just stopped doing it, where we would, sponsor parents for background checks, field trips and things of that nature to allow them to go with their families
We
on
do.
field trips?
We do.
Right, we do?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and do we pay for that?
Yes, sir.
And what does it cost?
But how much is it? About $45, $50?
No, it's more.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, depending on
12?
where you go.
Inflation.
Please, are we still doing it though?
Yes, sir.
At that amount? Okay, cool.
And it depends on where you go. If you go to Visalia, it's more than Farmersville and. Mhm. Yeah. They do
Okay.
that. I got
And-
my clearance in December.
Any oth-
That's it.
That's it. Ms. Gomez?
So I know, the topic on, the STRS is coming up, but I think, if we can just address, has everybody, been notified? And, again, the resolution to it, but that's it.
And that can be spoken to when he presents.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Macarino?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Ms. Lopez?
Yes, also on that CalSTRS, if you'll, let us know, was there a list provided to him as to who the employees that were affected were? And have they been personally contacted to meet with them? I'd like to know all that, please. I know that we all got, well, I don't know about everybody, because you're not gonna be 65, but I also got a retirement thing that was sent out to, I guess, everybody that's up there.
Like a 65?
You're way
Look
back.
good.
You're way past there.
Sorry, you opened that up for me.
You passed that, so.
Well, yeah,
That's why
I'm-
you didn't get a letter.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, well, what can I tell you? Any other questions, board members? If not, one question, and this directed to Mr. Tony back there. Can you find out through the city of Farmersville, my understanding that they had a meeting the other day, that water rates and all that was going up? Can you find out for us, or were we ever notified? If not, then let's find out what's going on there. But my understanding is, right now, that the water that we do have is we're paying the city, but my understanding is going up by 100%. So can you look into that for me?
You know what, Mr. Vasquez, it might be a good idea to do a 2-on-2. You do a 2-on-2, you and Alice, and meet with them.
We've had that, but the city has not gotten back to us when they want to meet.
Special meeting this Monday, so I think it'll be a good time.
We will schedule a 2-on-2 on them besides going to the meeting and complain about that.
Yeah.
But check into that for us because, and also on the sewerage as well, that is going back up. And with my understanding, I don't think we were even informed. But real concerned about that, so if you can bring that back to us. Other than that, that's all I have. So we move on.
Good catch.
Thank you. We go to 15.0, business service, 15.1, CalSTR updates. Board members have any questions? Or do we have a presentation? Go ahead. You didn't say presentation, all it said information only.
So for this evening, I'd like to just provide the board with a CalSTRS update as to where we're at. In the board packet, I've included that back in 2022, Farmersville was just one of more than 100 districts that were audited by CalSTRS. Now, this is not unusual. Every year, CalSTRS selects quite a few districts to be audited, and they audit their CalSTRS for compliance. So this is not unusual. Now, throughout the entire process, the district worked with TCOE as well as CalSTRS going through this entire process to identify the errors and work on how to correct them. So now, as you'll notice in the attachment, and as I've shared with the board before, payroll is complicated. It really is. And the fact that we've had some turnover in the payroll department, honestly, doesn't help us. But in any event, the district has identified and corrected the errors that need to be corrected, and we've sent them to actually to TCOE to be corrected. Our county office is the only one that can actually correct the coding errors and stirs. They have access to the STIR system, and so they physically have to go in and correct those errors. We do not have the ability to do it here at the district office. So once again, the process is we've identified and put down the corrections, and we've sent them to TCOE, and they're working through that list. Now, unfortunately, there's only one person at TCOE that does this type of STIRS work for the entire county. So this one person has a daily job in addition to projects that she gets from us and all other districts throughout the entire county. So she's working on this. I did contact TCOE earlier today, or excuse me, this week, to get an update, and was told that she's still working on it, but they're hopeful to get it completed by April, but if not April, May. And once again, part of this time delay is due to the fact that there's only one person at TCOE who can go in and make all these corrections, and she has a lot to do on her plate besides the corrections that are just attributable to us. Now, I know there was a question earlier about have all the members been notified. It's my understanding from speaking with the STIRS representative on this audit that STIRS was going to notify each member that was affected. So if they haven't received something by now, then they should not be affected, but I will go ahead and confirm that with STIRS tomorrow. And I know there are lingering questions as to what this means for me, what this means for my retirement, and also what this means for the district. And once again, that's a question that I asked the representative down at TCOE, and I was told, well, once again, well, we won't have a final answer for you just yet because we haven't worked through all the errors that, that you've sent us that need to be corrected. So we're still working through this process. Once again, we're hopeful to get it completed in April or May, and then we'll have an answer for Farmersville. But until then, I was told we really don't have any additional information to give you until the entire project is complete, until all the errors have been corrected in the actual STIRS system. So my plan is to follow up with TCOE at the end of April and see if there's some resolution to this and bring this back to the board and to everybody who's asking about it. If it's not April, well, then I'll keep following up with TCOE, every week in May until we reach some sort of resolution. Because once again, the district has done everything we can to correct the errors. We sent them to the county office. Now they have to work through the coding errors and correct them in the STIRS system, and for them that takes time. So, but once again, I'll follow up at the end of the month. If there's a change, I'll be sure to inform the board. I'd be happy to come up here and do another presentation on the update, but that's kind of where we stand with this at the minute, or at the moment.
Mr. Alvarez, you have any questions?
No, just a comment. I do understand what's going on, and it's kind of a confidential issue, especially when you're talking about somebody's pay and retirement through that nature. But yeah, it'd be great to get a final notice from them, and we'll just wait and see, I guess. Yeah? Okay.
Ms. Gomez?
So we've been trained and know how to work the system and all of that so that this doesn't happen moving forward, or what is?
So honestly, the training on STIRS is very sporadic. Fortunately, there was a CASBO training that the payroll folks just attended today, but it is very sporadic. There isn't just a school you can go to and get trained in STIRS or PERS in a week. It's extremely complicated, and how the coding is done depends on if you're Classic or PEPRA. If you move systems, what kind of stipend it is, how long you've been with the district. Sometimes there's stipends are classified on how they're coded depending on how things are written. So there really is a lot of subjective determination that goes into these things. So, but what can I assure the board is that going forward, if we have, once we have settlements or one-time off payments, I will have our payroll department confirm with the county office that we're coding it correctly, so we don't run into this issue again.
I don't know how Tulare County Office of Education works, but I imagine they would have like timelines and deadlines on these types of projects and stuff. And so he's following up, but is there anybody else that we can speak to to confirm that there's an actual deadline that will be met for?
Yeah, if the board would like, I can follow up tomorrow and see when the deadline is, because I'm sure the state has some deadline to receive these corrections from the county office But what that exact deadline is for them, I'm not sure, but I can ask.
Okay. We gotta hold them accountable if that's whose hands it is in now. Do we have, one more, do we have a cheat sheet? Did they provide, in the training that they had today, did they provide any PowerPoints or any paperwork to help? Because that's not stuff you could just remember how to do.
Yeah, I didn't participate in the training. I was doing other activities at the moment, or during earlier today, but I can follow up and ask, and, you know, share with the board, you know, what they learned, but in talking briefly with one of the attendees afterwards, she told me the impression, wow, that was really helpful because it is even more complicated than I ever imagined.
Okay.
So it's kind of, so to me, it sounds like the more you learn, the more you realize, the more you don't know,
Yes,
because payroll is extremely complicated.
Yeah.
Yes.
okay. I'm done.
Mr. Macarino?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Ms. Lopez?
I have just questions on the papers that you
Sure.
gave us. The first date, or the date that's here, what does that mean? Because everything's black, so I don't know what the heading is.
Yeah,
What is that?
unfortunately, yeah, that was just a function of the way that they had this formatted. It was light gray, so when it went to the copier, it kind of made it super dark and unreadable. Let me flip to that page.
So it has a date of November 6th, 2023.
I'm trying to find it here really quick. Here we are. I'm sorry, which page are you on?
Well, they don't have page numbers,
Oh.
so, on the report,
The third,
it's a second page on the report itself, where Farmersville's listed.
Okay. Okay, I see it.
So what's that date? The date of the audit, the date that
I
it was printed?
I think that's, I'm not 100% positive I can get back to, but I think that's the final date of the audit.
That's when it was completed?
I believe that's when it was completed.
And the 4, is that how many findings, or is that
Yes.
some other?
Yeah, so, you know, once again, that's just a function of this being gray on the actual document, but yes, that column you're looking at with the 4 and the 3 below it, all the way down, those are the number of findings that each district received.
So we're not talking about people, we're just talking about findings that certain things weren't done, correct?
Yes, and it's, certain findings fell into different categories. You know, so if it was a finding of somebody was coded incorrectly in STRS, it should have been PREPA versus Classic, then that was one finding. If it was, you know, a stipend was, you know, charged at 2%, it should have been 1.5% Classic, then that was another finding. So it all depends on the classification of actual finding itself. That's the reason there were four different findings.
Okay, if I can ask that, at the next update, we know, if that's the date of the report, November 6th, 2023, and exactly how many, staff were affected?
Yes, we can do that.
I know that that's the final date, the report is the date of the final report, there was a preliminary report, and then I think 3 months to respond, that was the one statement for each of the 4 countries. And then this was the final report after the opportunity to respond.
Okay, so,
Any other question, board members? If not, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
We go to future meeting dates. 17.1, May 14, 2024, May 28, 2024. We go to 19.0, policy administrative regulations, 19.1. Second reading approval by board policy 9,000. Board bylaws opens at 7:55.
Rosemary, we don't have the first reading of the 1,000. Remember, we were gonna.
We close at 7:56.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion on the floor.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Ms. Lopez, second by Mr. Alvarez to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, that carries 5-0. We go to 20.0, adjournment to closed session. We'll be discussing 20.1, conference with labor negotiators. It is the intention of the board to meet in closed session to review its position and to instruct the designee representative, agency designated representative Dr. Chavez, Mr. Kraft, Mr. Mendez, name of the organization, FTA CSEA Management. 20.2, public employee, discipline, dismissal, release complaint, Government Code 54957. 20.3, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9, significant exposure of litigation pursuant of subdivision D of Section 54956.9. We go to closed session at 7:58.
So Mr. Mendez and Mr. Cap, we join.
Are you?
certificate graduation
Okay.
is
We're good?
tomorrow.
All right. Go back in open session at 8:23. Okay. 21.0, action taken on closed session items. 21.1, conference with labor negotiation, GC 549576. It is the intent of the board to meet in closed session to review its position and to instruct its designated rep, agency designated representative, Dr. Chavez, Mr. Kraft, Mr. Mendez, name of organization, FTA, CSEA, management, no action taken. 21.2, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, complaint, government code 54957, no action taken. 21.3, conference with legal counsel, anticipating litigation, government code section 54956.9, significant exposure of litigation pursuant of subdivision D of section 54956.9, no action taken. We go to 22.0, adjournment at 8:25.
Move.
We have a motion on the floor,
Second by John Alvarez.
second by Mr. Alvarez.
Yes.
Motion on the floor by Ms. Lopez, second by Mr. Alvarez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Carries 5-0. Meeting is now adjourned.
Great meeting.
I'm sorry, the firehouse, thing is May 10th.
You have anything for us, Rosemary? All righty.
Show me the
Thank
money.
you.
Are we done?